For whatever the reasons are that people are fighting in video games, whether they're taking it to the streets to take down the criminal syndicate, or whether they're in the spirit of competition, wrestling and grappling will always be ingrained. Wrestling is at its most fundamental core a fighting art. There's a number of games featuring wrestling as a fighting style, and over time as games have developed, as characters have clearer definition, different styles of wrestling have also now become included in said games. This aims to look at not just games that have featured wrestling as a fighting style, but looking into the characters who do wrestling as a fighting style. This intentionally will not be a be-all and end-all video. Games that are MMA and wrestling based titles will not be on the list, like UFC, WWE, Fire Pro, because of course it's a no-brainer that they feature wrestling. So let's start off 1991 at the arcade peak boom, and that is Street Fighter II. Billed at £700 in Street Fighter II World Warrior, sporting a beard and a mohawk, the Russian Zangief, with a love of Cossack dancing and wrestling bears, Zangief is an up-close, devastating grappler, considered a difficult character to play with due to the pad-destroying 360 inputs. With a moveset of spinning pile drivers, cyclone lariats, later gaining better reach and tweaks to those moves, getting suplexes, flying powerbombs, he was Street Fighter's original powerhouse. As the Street Fighter canonical is all over the place, rolling back in time, series stalwart Zangief has an adoring fan, someone who idolises the Red Cyclone and sees him as a rival to overcome. Rainbow Mika, who was introduced in Street Fighter Alpha and Street Fighter 03 in 1998, with appearances only in Startling Adventure in 2001, and would not appear in a Street Fighter title until Street Fighter V in 2016, an absence of 18 years. Mika is a blonde-haired Japanese girl in an attire of blue and white leotard and her iconic blue band mask, and unlike typical wrestlers and game trope, Mika is not slow, she's agile, she's fast, cheeky and comical, using her buttocks to good effect. Her arsenal has been expanded to include a stunner, a giant swing, and a Frankensteiner in Street Fighter V.
Listen, you better not disappoint me.
Tina Armstrong, the Southern Belle of fighting games, a love of cowgirl outfits and that of being a rock star, has been a series-long fighter in the Dead or Alive series. She's a headstrong, determined character, portrayed as something of a girl destined for a form of stardom, trying out different professions. She's confident in her sex appeal, and she's the most powerful of the female characters. She has a variety of multi-lock grapples, powerful throws, and stylish hard-hitting play, influenced by both Yoshi and American-style wrestling, and has a lot of interconnected relationships with the other fighters, not least of which is her father.
人やから女になれよ。わからんちめ。
あなたの血よ。
Hey, you like pain? Get ready.
Father, of course, being Bass Armstrong. He's most obviously a take on American pro wrestling, namely his appearance being based on Hulk Hogan. Bass did not appear in the original DOA, or the arcade or the Saturn version, but did appear in the revamped PlayStation version and has now been a series long haul. Billed as the greatest wrestler ever, who wants protecting her from the evils of Hollywood and to stay as a star in the ring. Sporting outfits of black and white gear, likely inspired by the NWO, as Hollywood Hogan was running the ropes at the time of the character's inception. Also commanding biker-like gear and also a brown outfit with a cowboy hat. He's a mega powerful heavy hitter with devastating throws and multi-link grapples.
Score one for Daddy.
From the ring to the streets, after Adam Hunter was kidnapped, Blaze, Axel and Adams Jr. would escape, enlisted Max Thunder to take to Streets of Rage 2. Tall, powerful, sporting a dropkick, a spinning knuckle, charging tackle, thunder body slam, and an atomic drop in his first outing. It's Max's German suplex that makes Max a popular choice for Streets of Rage 2. It's by far the most damaging and most satisfying throw in the game, taking out life bars in one go. And Max did not return for Streets of Rage 3 or Bare Knuckle 3, being dropped in favour of the cybernetic Dr. Zan. Streets of Rage remake by Bomber Games would bring back Max, making him the devastator he was always meant to be, with the inclusion of new moves such as a running clothesline, a rolling shoulder block, and an overhead belly-to-belly. From the inner city to the depths of the Mexican jungle, it is Juan Aguigate, the lead of Guacamole. After being killed and sent to the land of the dead, Juan is given a mask, returning into the land of the living as the powerful luchador to rescue his love from being made as a sacrifice. With a whole repertoire of moves at his disposal, including slams and throws and high-flying, death-defying attacks, the love of Mexican folklore and lucha mythology is strong with this one. And then we come to King. Inspired by Satoru Sarayama, better known to the world as Tiger Mask, King, therefore we could say, is Jaguar Mask. Storyline wise, we have him as an orphan child taken in by the church in Mexico, trained in the art of lucha of fighting spirit, sporting the infamous Jaguar Mask. He doesn't speak very much, he just growls. And once King has an opponent in close quarters, the sheer amount of options for causing damage is huge, sporting everything from a tombstone to swinging DDT, even Jake Robinson's version of a DDT. Scorpion Deathlock, Indian Deathlock, Russian leg sweeps, power bombs and slams, a wide variety of deadly strikes and clotheslines. King's life bar draining multi-lock throw combos are great in the hands of a skilled player. In terms of character and development though, Tekken has deep developments and interconnected relationships with its characters. You also have Armor King and King 2 to consider for inclusion. Armor King exists as King's sub-boss in the early Tekken titles, King's savior and wrestling mentor. He has a more aggressive moveset, so designed really for those people who want to apply pressure, and uniquely has a stunner screwdriver, and is something of a favourite. Now, King was killed by Ogre, the god of fighting, prior to the events of Tekken 3. King 2 is trained by Armor King. It is King 2 you play as from Tekken 3 onwards. Armor King was then killed by Marduk. Marduk is an Australian fighter of Vale to Do. Cocky and somewhat arrogant, he's a hard striker and orientated towards sharp takedowns MMA style. Inspired by pro wrestler Nathan Jones. And after rivalry and revelations as the stories of Tekken continue, there was also an Armor King 2 as well, and then you're left scratching your head about what really is going on in this game.
What the?
Thankfully, storylines are much simpler in Sega's Virtua Fighter series, although there is a canonical winner of each game. Yu Suzuki envisioned that Virtua Fighter would be a competitive sport. Esports, who knew? Wrestlers are well established within the character roster lore. In fact, there's 3 of them, featuring the fighting stars of Lucha, Pancrase and Pro Wrestling. So we're going to start from the most recent edition, El Blaze, debuting in Virtua Fighter 5. El Blaze is lightning quick, sporting a Lucha mask and fiery pleather leggings, and he can spring onto the walls and fences and utilising it in his offense. Head scissors, super kicks, Irish whips, sporting a Shiranui, diving DDTs, and 450 splashes. Blaze is a heavy, quick hitter, and always ready with a follow-up. Jeffrey, fisherman by day, fighter by night, has debts running up, and is hunting the elusive devil shark that has ruined his boat. He lives off the coast of Australia and is skilled up in Pancratium. The heavy-hitting, hard-butting, powerbomb-loving Jeffrey has risen a popular choice due to his strength and his reach, and can destroy life bars in seconds. Wolf Hawkfield, Virtua Fighter's accomplished heavyweight grappler, billed from Canada, and has Native American First Nation appearance and attire as his second costume. In the early titles, he was a powerhouse, sporting Zaguri's, elbow drops, Frankensteiners, including a Steiner screwdriver. He was a touch floaty. It wasn't until later outings where he flourished, where grappling and transition to better positions took up the gameplay. Through Virtua Fighter 4, through Evo, Virtua Fighter 5 and Virtua Fighter 5 Final Showdown, many of the throws and setups changed not just a little, but a lot, title by title, losing throws and gaining new ones. A moveset inspired predominantly by Mitsuharu Mitsuharu and Kenta Kobashi, with notable additions of a stunner, a diamond cutter, the Shining Wizard, jackhammer, angle slam, F5, burning hammer. Wolf in the hands of a competent player is utterly devastating. Travis Touchdown, an assassin living in Santa Destroy, living in a motel decorated with wrestling and anime. Travis is the protagonist of video game series No More Heroes, travelling the open world city on his motorcycle, and after obtaining a beam katana at an online auction, he's unwittingly caught up in the top 10 Assassins League. In this game, Travis is a wrestler trained in Calgary, where else, and he obtains new grapples by watching and mimicking moves on videotapes, and used to spectacular fashion. Tiger suplexes, tombstones, brainbusters, and much, much more. After a period of absence, it appears that Travis Touchdown is coming back with a new title of No More Heroes coming to the Switch.
What? There are no heroes in this world? Oh, but there totally are. My name is Travis Touchdown. I'm the last hero around, here to save the world. I'm also just a passing assassin. Now let's do this. Start the game.
Mary Ivanskaya, Tobal number 1. Was something of an obscure fighting title made by Square in 1996, with character design by Dragon Ball creator Akira Toriyama. The game ran liquid smooth at a nice silky 60 frames a second, and it was all about an interplanetary fighting tournament, more than 200 playable characters, and unique freedom of movement, attacks and counters, and even a 3-dimensional dungeon exploration. Mary stood out as my go-to character. She was a fully figured female wrestler. Blue gold attire, equipped with powerbomb suplexes and a vertical drop brainbuster. And as her win pose says, real women will plant you on the ground with a DDT. What's not to love?
KO.
Hagar, Mike Macho Hagar, is our ring-hardened politician, wrestling, gaming icon, the mayor of Metro City. As Hagar joined Cody and Guy in Final Fight, reclaiming the streets from the Mad Gear gang who have kidnapped his daughter Jessica, wielding dropkicks, spinning lariats, pile drivers, and later spinning pile drivers, who then went on to return to the ring after a brief stint in the gym business. Saturday Night Slam Masters, Muscle Bomber duo, before reappearing once again in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, teaming with Frank and his best friend Spider-Man. Now it's time for some honourable mentions. Now, sumo wrestling, sumo wrestlers. Sumo is Japan's national sport, but that means it doesn't quite have the visibility worldwide. Powerful tests of strength, skill, balance, technique. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring and bundle those characters together in a joint honourable mention, because it is, at its base, wrestling. So we have Ganryu from Tekken, who's ducked in and out of the Tekken series. Taka Arashi from Virtua Fighter. Now, whilst Virtua Fighter introduced the ring-out formula that has defined the 3D beat-em-up, charging in with chops and strikes, Taka wasn't introduced to Virtua Fighter until Virtua Fighter 3. He was dropped from 4, came back for 5. We also have Gan Isarugi from rival schools, who sent shockwaves through the ground, really tight squeezes and slams, and the beautiful Hanako Suju from King of Fighters, who runs her own sumo club. And then, of course, you have the most famous sumo wrestler of all gaming. That is E Honda, with his devastating 100-hand slap and defying of gravity with his charging headbutt. Another honourable mention goes out to Fighter's Destiny, released on the N64 in 1998, developed by Genki. Followed up by a sequel called Fighter Destiny 2. It is similar to Virtua Fighter in its punch-kick attack system, but it also utilised a wrestling judo-style knockout system. Ring outs are also present, netting a point. Hitting a successful grapple, bags 2, KOs are 3, and special grapples will net you 4 points. It's pretty inventive in a genre fraught with just draining of life bar meters, and 7 points secures a victory. It's not so much a hidden gem, it's pretty cheap, and it can be rewarding to play. So what did you think of our list today? Be sure to leave a comment below. If you like it, dislike it, hey, that's completely up to you. Share it if you want others to see it as well. Until next time, keep wrestling. So what's this window all about? This is my melting pot home to different kinds of content, the things that interest me, products that I'm presently doing or have been involved with. I have a thirst for knowledge, inspiration, adventure and discovery. There's presentations, talks, completed film projects, documentary material, edits of some of the live performances that have been the videographer and the editor behind, accessible how-tos and blog content. I have a passion for exploring our curious world. That has led to the creation of the video and audio podcast that I produce and host called Our Curious World, about having genuine conversations with guests across various topics, engaging with people, inspired by the Joe Rogan Experience and Coast to Coast AM. I love talking about the things that have us asking questions and learning along the way. We really do live in interesting and fascinating times. Join me on this journey figuring stuff out and producing material along the way. Hit up a like, a subscribe, and join the conversation.